Welcome back to another Fast Tip Friday. This is Eric Stark, the host of the Smart RVer podcast. And today we're going to be talking about vent garnishes. These have got to be one of the most boring things on an RV, right? But they're the most misunderstood thing on an RV as well. It's hard to figure out what you have and what size you need, so we're going to help you with that today. So a vent garnish would go on this, which is up on the roof. It's called a 14 by 14 vent, and this is the garnish. So this would be the bottom view. It'd mount like so. So I hope you all understand that. Pretty straightforward. All RVs have at least one of these, so we're going to set that aside. Now basically there's two different types of vents, or two different brands for the most part. There's Ventline and Elixer, and Elixer is owned by Hengs. H-E-N-G-S, Hengs. I refer to it as Elixer because that's what I've called it for decades. It's hard to get into that new name mode. So Hengs, Elixer, and Ventline. And then of course there's always the fantastic fan made by Dometic, which is a completely different garnish, which we'll get to that in just a moment. And by the way, on the bottom of each vent there's a screen that looks something like this. So these screens are proprietary. Each brand has its own screen system. This happens to be off of Jensen, which is owned by Elixer and Hengs. Not to confuse it, there's one more name. So an Elixer would have a hole over here rather than here. So they are proprietary, and you have to get the right one to make it work. So you want to make sure you take it off, check it out thoroughly, match them up when you go to the RV store, and get the right one the first time. Because those are also ordered wrong or bought wrong quite a bit too. Guessing doesn't work on a lot of this stuff. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So now let's start with the Ventline garnishes. So this is your typical Ventline garnish. Doesn't look much different than an Elixer, but it is a little bit different. The quality is not as nice, that's for sure. This one happens to be birch white. Then we have another one over here, which is a bigger one, and this is white, which still has kind of a birch look to it, oddly enough. So this is the size range. So the one in my left hand is 1 1/8 inches, and this one's like 5.5 inches. So they have sizes in between, but this is the size range. So you might have a very thin roof and need something like this. Or you might have a very thick roof and need this one. So it depends on the roof. And these can be cut down. You can actually cut these if you need to. It's not the easiest thing, but it's also not the hardest thing to do. If you buy one that's too big, store's not open, you want to get it done, you can trim it down, not a problem. So this is a little bit smaller than what comes on a new vent. The vent I was just holding up, it's about 2.5 inches, where this is 1 1/8 inches. So a 2.5 inch one is what comes with it. It doesn't work on every roof, so you might have to buy an extra one. The vents do not come with multiple sizes of garnishes. It's one size and that's it. If you need something different, you got to buy a new one. So now that's pretty simple. We're going quick here, but it's simple. Elixir is basically the same way. Now this one's about 1.5 inches and this one's 4.5 inches. So the garnishes are a little bit different. For whatever reason, they make them different brands. Now the Elixir ones are a little heavier duty, but you might not have an Elixir vent, but it might work. There seems to be some interchangeability on these. You know, Elixir might work in a Ventline, the Ventline might work in Elixir. I know on the Ventline, an Elixir will work in it, but I don't know if it's opposite. We haven't tried that, not too worried about it. But you can figure that out. They're almost identical size, and they adjust a little bit. They got some flex to them. And these ones are white, and as I said, these ones are birch white, or that one's birch white, so it's a little bit different, that off-white look. And then we have the Fantastic fan garnish. So this is made by Dometic. This fits Fantastic powered vents, and the Fantastic has like the about the 10-inch round blade on it, very big, high volume, high velocity. So this works on that, and you can see it's square corners versus radius corners on the others. This one will not work in most other vents, and the radius corners definitely will not work in this one, at least not work right. If you have a Fantastic fan, this is the one that comes with it. Comes in one size. It can be trimmed down if it's too big. Can't make it any deeper, so you have to make it work. So that's vent garnishes in a nutshell. Told you it wasn't the most exciting thing, but people don't understand them and they get mixed up quite a bit. So we're just trying to straighten it out. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll catch you in the next video.